Hello, hello. Welcome to the blank space. Ost. Ost? Yeah, that's the word this week. Drew, how you doing?
Welcome to the sultry sounds of my voice. I
Well,
see
we
we have a podcast going now for the people to listen to our lovely, lovely voices.
let's be honest here, man. We know what we are, and lovely. Well, I am, but you.
Wow, one, rude. Two, my mom loves me, thank you very much. And three, hey, you're probably right.
Welcome to the blank space, folks, where we just fill it in with maybe nonsense, maybe good content, no, maybe mediocre content.
Wait, no, I've got a second person. My grandma calls me lovely. So I've got like two-factor authentication on that.
That's like 2 out of 7 billion. Good job.
You want to bring the universe down harder on my head a little bit?
Yeah, sure, that's still better than your batting average. Anyway,
How'd you know about my batting average?
it's okay.
That was supposed to be a secret.
Hey, it's okay. I'm like 1 point worse than you, so it's all good.
The records were burned. No one should know.
So, Drew, how was your week, good sir?
It's been going alright. It's been going alright. How about you?
I can't complain. I'd say it's been a pretty good week, pretty good day, pretty good life.
Pretty solid, pretty solid. Did you...
Okay, calculus actually has started, and it burns my brain.
You know, I
Summer
remember
classes,
saying...
man.
I remember saying this back in high school and early college.
Uh-huh.
When am I going to use this math? And I
And the-
remember my teacher saying, at some point you will. And I still haven't.
Here's the bad thing now, Drew. See, I've been taking this class for a week now, and I've come to the realization I will use this math.
Oh no.
Because I'm an accountant, and apparently calculus is for accountants.
Alright, here's what you do. You find a guy who can make a fake ID for you. You
Alright.
fake your own death.
Okay.
You move to Arizona.
Alright.
You pretend to be a Cinnabon worker. You actually don't work there. You just pretend. You show up one day with an apron and just say you work there. And then
Okay.
never tell anyone your real name. Your name is now Gunther.
Is this just like something you want to happen, or is this actually solving the problem?
Yeah, no, that's solving your calculus problem. You'll never have to take calculus again.
Alright, like,
Unless you want to become an accountant in that other life.
I mean, I didn't say I would back down. I'm just saying I'm severely disappointed. That was
It-
the point of my statement.
In, like, the math?
It just
You
made me
did, like-
realize I actually gotta remember all this stuff, that's all. Like, I can't just be
Nah.
like, know it for the test. It's like, nope. Hold this close to your soul.
Hold many things close to your soul.
The good thing is,
Which I-
the actual accounting stuff that it deals with, not that bad. But, like, the other stuff around it, though, is pretty annoying.
Hmm. So you're talking to a guy who genuinely didn't like doing math in school, so it's more like me being like, man, I feel for you. I'm sorry.
I thank you for
You'll
your
have to
concern.
you'll have to keep us week by week updated on your increasing pit of despair.
I think I can manage that. I'll be despaired every week.
Weekly update on Ant's despair pit. How deep is that pit today?
12 feet at least.
You measured it?
I mean, we could hide a body down here.
Wait, so how do you think you'd measure that pit?
Probably with a measuring tape or a really long ruler.
Hmm.
Probably a
Okay.
few yardsticks. 4 yardsticks, to be honest.
Ooh, is that math? Did you just do math right there?
Yeah, because
Should I get an air horn at how much math just went on?
I'm not being stupid there.
Oh man, you don't know how many feet are in a yard. I don't.
Genuinely?
I need to berate you as I don't type anything into my keyboard here. How 3 yards are a foot? Come on, sir. I knew that off the top of my head. No, sorry, it's 3.33333333 yards. I was sadly mistaken.
Don't you mean it's
Point
3 feet
three was
in a
not
yard?
enough.
I think
No,
you.
it's. Oh, wait, I'm reading the opposite
Yeah,
way.
I was right.
Sir, I was testing you. I was trying to bring you out to agree with me. You almost did. I almost had you.
You were close. You were there. I was concerned, and then I realized football fields exist.
You're right, actually. Damn, you're right. You're right. I should have realized that before testing
Literally,
you.
literally, it's the only reason why I know what a yard is because of football, and I don't even like football. I mean, I don't hate it, but like I'm not going to go out of my way for that. It isn't hockey.
But what is hockey your thing?
Kind of. I mean, it's the one I enjoy the most.
Why's that?
I don't know. People sometimes punch each other.
I've got a great thing for you. Boxing and MMA are full of people punching each other.
Yeah, but that's like brain damage all the time. Hockey's more like, I really hate that guy, I'm going to beat him up, instead of it's my job. Like, it's their job to play a sport, and then they decide to beat each other up. See, that's different.
Is it?
I mean, I'd think so. One is not like the other. One is just pure anger. The other is, this is my job, and we're going to fight each other.
Alright, I guess I can get behind that. I was going to go with, like some people say they only watch NASCAR for the crashes. I'm like, you can just watch monster trucks at that point. That's just distilled car crashes.
Yeah, but sometimes, you like sometimes, I mean, do you drink Coke syrup, or do you just have like a Coke with some seltzer?
Neither?
The point is, Drew, do you just drink like the syrup from like, like soda drinks? Or do you drink it like blended with some seltzer water at least? Like a human being.
Unless I'm missing a really big point here, I don't think I do either of those.
Do you drink
is that
soda?
what you're... Yes.
Okay. Do you drink just the syrup of the soda?
Don't judge me. No, yes, I drink soda out of a bottle like every normal person.
Right? Now, if you wanted that distilled to just the syrup, you would not enjoy it because it'd just be goop that you shouldn't eat. And that's what MMA fighting is. The goop you should not eat, at least in my eyes.
Well, why you gotta hate on MMA like that? Why you gotta hate on boxing like that?
I don't like
it's a beautiful
seeing people
sport.
get their heads kicked in.
It's a beautiful... You watch hockey.
Hold up. Look, this is a fine line here, okay? And once it's crossed, it's crossed. The difference is, it's not their job to beat the shit out of each other, even though it sort of is.
Some people would argue it's their job.
I mean, getting slammed to the wall technically is part of the sport.
I don't know if it's in their contracts. I don't know if when they're signing their contracts there's one specific point that says, like, you are perfectly fine with being slammed into walls by big burly men most of the time.
Okay, I see your point.
I really don't know what that point was, but it was a point.
Yep, it's on a map.
So I did do something over the weekend.
Oh, what was that, good sir?
I rewatched One Punch Man.
That seems like a good decision.
Have you watched that?
Yeah, I've seen the entire series, and I love it.
Oh, that's such a good show.
It is. Like, it's the right balance of like, comedy, action, and, just kind of poking fun at things.
Yeah.
Season 2 hasn't come out yet, right?
No. I believe you. We would be talking exclusively about season 2 if that happened. We'd be like, all right, guys, clear the table. We're only talking about season 2.
I'm only asking because sometimes, like, I just don't realize things happen.
Yeah, no. Season 2's coming, I think they said later this year.
Sometime
Maybe
this
next year. I'll wait. If it's any kind of quality of the first season, I'm on board. But something I thought about. I'm honestly surprised that this kind of anime hasn't happened before. Now, real quick, let me give a quick description for people who don't know what One Punch Man is. One Punch Man is an anime about a guy who is more or less a superhero for fun. and he just so happens to be the absolute strongest man in the world. He can kill almost anything with one punch.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah,
fact,
that's a good
in fact,
summary.
that's basically it. The story is about this guy who's a superhero, and he can kill anything with one punch. There's a deeper storyline, like of course he's kind of bored with being a superhero because everything just dies in one punch,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of on a quest to find something that'll challenge him. But it's the whole series is more about poking fun at action.
Like the traditional like fighting type of animes and like fighter type of shows, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I'd say fighting animes, but also on a broader scale, like action,
Superheroes and all that
action,
kind of stuff.
superhero, and monster movie kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, how ridiculous can we get with this concept? And I guess that's the funny thing to me is I'm surprised that's never been tried before.
It is kind of when you put it that way. Yeah, it is kind of weird. Nobody really did it before, or
Like
at
for it to
least
be,
like gave it any screen time.
yeah, for it to be as big of a joke as it is within like fans of that community to be like, oh man, look at Superman, he could just kill anything. Why is he even like? Well, he's not interesting because he could just kill anything. He's like the strongest being on the world. He's a god. How can he? He's not interesting. Well, someone probably just looked at it and said like, you're right. What if we tried to make that interesting? A guy who is stronger than anything anyone could ever try and be.
Yeah, and he pretty much just kind of does his thing and makes a very interesting character. Like it pretty much just put the notion of like, oh, just because a guy's kind of all powerful, he's not going to be interesting. No, that's kind of not true. But you know what? I think it's also that he hasn't had like a million shows made after him too, so that probably helps as well. Like he's nice and contained and not going on for like 3 seasons and you know like 100 episodes. He just has like a nice compact little 12 episode series.
Yeah,
So I feel like
definitely.
that kind of like helps it along a bit. Like yeah.
It's a new concept. It's a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's a new character within it. And I think it's interesting because the whole series does what I think a good comedy should, which is that the entire series kind of bends to the comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the series has a point really early on where they ask him like, how do you get your immense power? Like, we want to be powerful like you. How do you be super powerful? And
And
he
the
basically,
dude,
hmm?
yeah, and the dude just literally just says like, I do 100 push-ups every day.
Yeah, he tells them a work regimen that is not impossible. It's not like he says like, oh, I run around the earth 6 times every morning. It's like, no, he does 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 crunches, and runs 10 kilometers every day. Not easy, mind you, but it's something you look at and you're just like, wow, that is just,
That's something a human being can do.
yeah, exactly. You see it and you're like, wow, I think honestly I could do that eventually. But the whole comedy around it just is from like this ridiculous extreme of like the character the character being as normal and down to earth as he kind of is. Well, I don't want to say entirely normal, but like for the most part normal, a normal guy, to his massive crazy power that he has within the costume and the jokes that they're able to make around that.
Mm-hmm. Like he does not. It doesn't fit, but it fits for the show, right? Like it's a good blend of things, and it's highly recommended. Good job. We didn't do any spoilers.
Yeah. Well, slight. We gave away his work regimen.
Oh,
We gave away the
ooh,
secret.
some heavy stuff there, gay.
Some of that heavy spoiler stuff you could
Mm,
only get on our podcast.
that's true.
So like I guess it's just odd to me that they've never tried to make a series I know there's plenty of like jokey anime that's like made fun of tropes of anime before, but I guess I'm surprised that this specific one hasn't shown up more often.
Yeah, you're right. You would think they would do something like this, but I don't know. I guess some of those shows are already a joke, so like it's kind of hard.
I feel like some shows try to do it as a joke, but
They just kind of half-ass it and just kind of like a harem thing that's kind of gross.
yeah, like for instance, a harem anime that is trying to joke on the like harem trope, but it's just being the thing it's trying to joke about.
Right. That's
It's like,
happened for
oh
like, but this
man,
is this is a genuine parody that's enjoyable to watch.
yeah, like instead of making jokes about like this guy who is clueless and is loved by these 10, 15 women around him, he just points it out every once in a while. He's like, "Man, isn't this crazy that 10 women follow me around? That's
Hmm.
nuts." Well, One Punch Man takes every joke opportunity it kind of can. Where there's so many times he'll face off against a villain, and the villain, I feel like the artist gets to like really flex their muscles whenever a
Hmm.
villain is about to be killed, because basically they just turn into this massive hulking behemoth of like a monster right before he just kind of like, I don't know, just throws a punch at him.
Turns them. Yeah. Yep.
hmm
Yep. 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 Yep.
And without spoilers,
That's what I was trying to do
I
with my yips.
I I can't say my favorite moment of the series without spoilers. Do you have a favorite moment that isn't crazy spoilers?
Honestly, Drew, I feel like we kind of have to drop this before like we kill somebody's enjoyment of this show.
All right, all right.
So, what's your
Full
favorite
full
cereal?
recommendation. Yeah. Any any
We're dropping things like hot potatoes, Drew.
I don't think that was a hot potato as much as like hot mercury. Like you couldn't have
The
dropped
fact
that
is,
literally quicker.
it's on the carpet, and it's burning through the wood. Uh,
Exactly. Like it's like here, okay. I'm gonna drop this into your hand, and you hold it as long as you can. And you didn't even attempt to hold it. You didn't hold out your hands. You just dropped it. You were just like, go.
that's about
Um,
right. I'm okay with this stuff.
I'm a big connoisseur of cereal products. I love me some good breakfast food. Breakfast is, if not the most important meal of the day, definitely one of the most enjoyable.
Wait, cereal's breakfast food?
I mean,
I just kind of think it's like all-purpose snack.
it is. It is. Like that's the thing. I put it in breakfast because that is what society has labeled it as. If we're not going by
Mm,
societal labels, we can do whatever we want.
yeah, it's like clearly brunch food.
You just sit there and you're like, yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna fight the system. 11 a.m. cereal. Yeah. It's like, mm,
Well,
that's
fairness, I usually end up eating cereal like at night, like when I know I shouldn't eat anything else, kind of deal. And it's like, well, this isn't so bad. Like I'm not gonna
ce-
completely regret this tomorrow.
cereal is saved for two parts of my breakfast is saved for two kinds of days. One is a day off where I wake up late and decide, breakfast does sound good around noon. Or when I get home from work and I don't feel like making anything for myself. It is a day where I come home and I'm like, man, I could do salads or I could make some big elaborate meal. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm just not going to do that because I've got a big old bowl of Reese Puffs right here.
Honestly, for me, like, I don't really do breakfast. Like, the only time I ever do breakfast is at Wawa, and I get a breakfast sandwich there. Like either like after I'm doing a workout or just have to do something early. I usually don't have time to do a breakfast, and if I really need to eat something, I'm better off just grabbing something to go real quick.
Real
Like,
quick, this is not a plug. This is not like we're sponsored by Chick-fil-A. But you need to have those Chick-fil-A little mini bites. Oh, that's so good. Oh my god.
are they?
I had them
I've
like,
actually never had those. Are they actually like
oh, they're
that's
so
breakfast food?
good. That is so good. They're basically like, okay, so what they are, little chicken nuggets, but they're on
Mm-hmm.
breakfast biscuits.
All right. What if I told you I hate breakfast biscuits?
Well, guys, it's been a lovely ride. This is a great final episode. It's been a blast. I have a wonderful time. I shall never be speaking to my co-host ever again. Good night.
Okay, so it looks like I'm doing a one-man band. So, how
Literally?
about them Celts? Yeah, those Celts. They're like Irish people, right? Yeah, they're like Irish people but older.
No, but I mean, like, what do you have against breakfast biscuits? It just isn't good to you or something?
I don't know, it just kind of tastes like okay, so if it's like the actual just kind of biscuits, right? They just kind of taste like I don't know, bad. Like they're too crumbly and like there's not enough like thickness to them. They're usually dry
Uh,
and like I don't really like that
you're
at
thinking
all.
of, like, buttermilk biscuit kind of deals.
Yeah, yeah, those are kind of like no, I
Okay,
don't
what if
like
I
those at all.
what if I told you these biscuits were like a warm Hawaiian roll?
All right, okay, you're selling me now.
Yeah,
Okay,
there we
you
go.
know what? I'm
Not
buying your
not
product.
we're not doing buttermilk biscuits. We're doing like nice soft buttery kind of stuff.
Okay, we're talking like Texas Roadhouse. Talk at them. We should get paid.
Look, Texas Roadhouse can have my endorsement for free as long as every time I come in there I get that cinnamon butter every
Cinnamon
single
butter
time.
literally will destroy everything about me.
Oh God, it's been so long since. All right, no, we're getting. Because I'll just sit here because I'm a little hungry. I'll just sit here and be like, oh, I need to.
I got some.
When's the
I
next time
got
I can
some.
go?
I got some second party hot pockets downstairs I can grab.
Ooh,
They're
schmancy.
they're great value.
Ooh. But all right, so if you're making yourself breakfast food other than cereal, what do
Okay.
you usually do?
I mean, honestly, I'll make myself a breakfast sandwich.
Huh?
Like
That's cool. Like,
I'll actually like end up like cooking some bacon, cheesing up some eggs, and yeah, I'll just kind of stick that together on a toasted bagel, and I'll have my breakfast sandwich.
oh man, I am terrible at making breakfast sandwiches. I don't know what it is. We even have a little pan to turn the eggs into like those little like circles.
Mm-hmm.
We have that pan, but I never do it because it always just tastes like crap.
Yeah, see,
They
here's the
never
thing,
taste
right?
good.
Gratuitous amounts of cheese make everything taste better. I
That
never
is
said my
very
breakfast
true.
was healthy. I just said I made it.
Believe me, I don't think anyone's saying, "Yeah, I made a healthy breakfast sandwich," unless it's like kale on, I don't know, kale on kale.
A healthy breakfast is just Cheerios, not Honey Nut, the good ones, but the dry ass crap that you need the soaking milk to just yeah.
Boy, you're speaking heresy. We don't speak of the bastard Cheerios. We only speak of the high-born honey nut Cheerios. We speak of the true king. We do not speak of the peasants.
Oddly enough, I remember when regular Cheerios used to be more popular than the Honey Nut ones.
I mean, for like 5 minutes before Honey Nut Cheerios came out.
I guess.
You know what's pretty good?
What?
Those apple cinnamon Cheerios. Those are actually pretty alright. I could deal with that.
I have never had them.
Those are pretty good.
Are they like Apple Jacks?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Like smaller Apple Jacks kind of stuff.
Oh, also, Honey Nut Cheerios is my favorite, by the way. Just thought I'd put that out there. Put my bias on my sleeve. I
Oh
guess
man, just
tanned. I got short sleeves today.
you've got, I mean, it's summer. Well, summer-ish. If you're wearing long sleeves right now, I don't know what's up. I don't know how I can help you.
I'm having a time, I guess.
All right. So please tell us about how your favorite ice cream is vanilla, and how you don't spice your meat. How you live such a boring life. While me over here, it's a cavalcade of different breakfast cereals.
See, you jest, but
See, I'll freely admit, Honey Nut Cheerios are banging. Honey Nut Cheerios are great. They're really, really good.
like they confuse your brain into thinking it could be moderately good for you.
Mm-hmm. It's not super sugary. But then again, what I'm going to name is much worse.
What are you naming?
Have you ever had French Toast Crunch?
Yeah, and I think I almost gagged on it.
Ugh, delicious. Delicious, delicious cereal. Delicious French Toast Crunch. I don't know what I did with my life for the years it was out of print. Like, they didn't make it. Then one day, some bright mind up at the company was like, "You should bring back that cereal we had. Remember the one that had like that tasted like stale pieces of bread, syrup, and so much sugar you could choke a child? That one. Bring it
I'm
back."
not sure you're a good person.
I didn't bring this up to bring back. I just simply like wanted it. Maybe
Okay.
I sent a few strongly worded emails to them.
I mean, were you old enough for email?
Yes. They weren't back in stock until like 3 years ago.
Okay. I mean,
I
I
could.
genuinely don't. This is not a topic I'm well versed with, so you could literally be telling me anything, and I just accept it's fact at this point.
I shall now introduce you to the lore of French Toast Crunch. One point in the 90s, an executive sat in his chair and he said, "Man,
We should kickstart this. Anyway, new topic.
okay." Hi,
We
Aunt.
can, we can, you can continue. You can,
Have you ever used Kickstarter before?
no. I was joking. You can use it. You can fine. Tell me the story about the toast.
One day there was this executive sitting atop his high tower of breakfast cereals at, I don't know, Kellogg's Post. I don't know who makes it really, but they were sitting atop their ivory tower and they said, "Man, I want a breakfast food cereal.
It's an
What
ivory
don't
tower.
we have?" A tower made of ivory, keep up.
Wait,
So,
wait, wait, wait,
we're,
wait. If the tower's made of ivory, like that's a lot of dead elephants, isn't it?
yes, he's sitting on top of a bunch of dead elephants
Okay,
to
but
show
like
his
that
wealth.
seems like a little mean.
It is actually just elephant horn. So you can shave their horns off and get the ivory from that. You don't need to kill them.
I don't know. If I'm already getting that, I might as well get the whole thing.
Someone called me a terrible person. All right, okay. Let me get you in touch with a couple of poaching friends I know. They're big fans of ivory. You're gonna have to go to Africa though. How do you feel about that?
South Africa?
No, we're talking like equator line, hot.
Nigeria?
Every day is 100 degrees.
I'll do Nigeria.
Actually, I have to remember where Nigeria is on a map.
That's actually it's about the equator kind of deal.
Okay, then yes,
And it's the fastest growing economy in Africa.
perfect. Although you're not there, you're not in a city. You're like out in the Sahara.
Oh, that's not in the Sahara.
The Nigeria? Yeah, no, you're not going to be in there. You're going to be
Oh,
hunting elephants.
oh. This sounds like a bad time. I don't want to hurt things.
Well, you can't back down now. You've had a time.
Okay.
Anyway, atop his ivory tower, he looked down upon the peasants and said, "Man, we need a new cereal. What don't we have?" Somebody brought up like oatmeal as like a kid cereal, and they were like, "That's an awful idea. Don't do that."
Oatmeal
Somebody else
doesn't
was
really
like,
exist. It's like
"Yeah,
it's
no,
like the
cream
it's
of
like it's like
it's
the
cream of wheat."
it's like the chupacabra of cereals.
It's like cream of wheat had like a child, and that's just what happened. Just happened to be oatmeal.
What is cream of wheat anyway? Is
A
that real?
poorly marketed oatmeal.
Oh,
Yeah, no, cream of wheat is a separate thing to oatmeal.
well,
But
one uses oats and the other uses wheat, so
sure, let's go with that. Anyway, atop his ivory tower, he looked down and they said, "We need a breakfast cereal." So somebody else said, "Hash browns," and he's like, "How are you gonna put hash browns in milk? That doesn't work. What are you gonna do with that?" And then somebody said, "I have an idea."
oh wait, I actually had an idea when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually it would be chicken bites, right? So it'd be like you take chicken nuggets and like you chop them up into littler chicken nuggets, right?
And then you have infinite chicken nuggets. It's great.
It's actually kind of great, right? And then you just kind of put it in a cereal box, and like you just kind of cook it when you're ready for cereal, except it's chicken.
Wait, I have many questions. Hold on. Hold your horses.
Okay.
So did you put like the whole box in the microwave and just dump it into a bowl?
I imagine you kind of keep this box in the freezer. Now that I'm been thinking about it, like
Yeah, you don't want chicken just sitting like out.
No, here's the thing, right? The last time I thought about this was like in 7th or 8th grade when the cafeteria gave us chicken nuggets, and like I would chop them up to make them last longer. And I was like, that would be a great cereal, and I'd eat it for breakfast.
Did you do the same thing with pasta? Did you do the same thing with like hot dogs? You were like, man, if they cut up hot dogs and put it in a cereal box, I'd eat that.
No, this was a uniquely chicken nugget thing.
Please tell me, what was your cereal name?
Oh shoot, I think I did have one too. I think it was chicken flakes or some bullshit.
I'm just imagining little entrepreneur Anthony just sitting around like at the lunch table with some friends, just being like, man, I keep making them small. Like, what if we put these in a box? Then we sold them, and we could sell it as like a breakfast thing.
It's like
I'm a
popcorn chicken.
genius. Yeah, it's like popcorn chicken. Wait, popcorn chicken already exists. Never mind. Back down, back down.
But actually, no. At that point, popcorn chicken did not exist. So I was the precursor.
Popcorn chicken was a thing. Popcorn chicken is just small chicken nuggets. It's tiny chicken nuggets.
Yeah, but like KFC didn't come out with that when I was in 7th grade. That wasn't until at least I was in high school.
I guess.
At least I think so. I could just not be remembering things right. That's what I do sometimes.
I feel like we need to invite a historian onto the podcast, like a chicken historian, and ask him about the history of popcorn chicken.
Yeah, for that, we're going to have people who actually give a crap about us, Drew.
Look, I think if we genuinely send an email to someone who's a popcorn chicken historian, I don't know what else they got going on in their life.
You know what, you're probably right. Like, he like, if somebody just invited him over their house for dinner, he'd probably say yes. And, like, that's like the most he'll make that entire month.
Can that be our thing? Can we be like inviting weird occupations onto our podcast, like popcorn chicken historian?
You jest, but I'd totally be willing to do that. Like if somebody was willing to like actually sit down and talk with us, I'd straight up do an interview with them. Be like, so how is your weird job?
How did you come into loving popcorn chicken so much that you decided to make it a profession?
I mean, we live in the greater like Philly, New York area.
Mm-hmm.
We have a high probability of weirdness.
I don't know. I feel like if there's like popcorn chicken historian, that's an LA thing. That's like definitely like a West Coast thing.
I feel like that would definitely be a Southern thing.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
I mean, like, come on, popcorn chicken? Come on, guy. Get on the ball.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So what about the Colonel? So, continue your story.
With this guy who just sits on top of a tower, apparently. I don't know where I left off. Long story short, he said, you know what I want? I want French toast as a cereal. And everyone was like, you got it, bud. Then they made it. It was great.
I'm happy I derailed you today.
To the point of me being like, I don't know where I left off. I'm just going to go for it.
So, to the next topic?
Man, you didn't let me mention my other favorite cereals, but fine. We'll just move on. You're just going to dismiss my favorite cereals. How could you?
You know what? Fine. I hate your cereals.
Thank you. Now I love them even more. Good. Your hate fuels me. Yes, we can move on. It's fine. So, I have a little topic for us, and actually is very, very topical right now. Not
Ooh.
topical like in the bigger sense of things, but
Oh.
like I want to bring up Kickstarter.
Okay. Kickstarter is
Um,
a thing I know about.
I am aware. I recently, within like the last month, have been trying to keep up with projects I backed a long time ago and try and see where they are and if they ever delivered what they had. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got like a short list here of basically like what I've kickstarted and what has delivered and what has not delivered yet. I figure we could talk about a little bit of it. Maybe talk about Kickstarter in general.
Okay.
So, common theme with all of these Kickstarters have been delays, more or less. The estimated date is usually much later than they say. Like, for example, there's this one that I kickstarted back in 2011, maybe, called Boot Hill Heroes,
Okay.
which is like a Wild West RPG made in RPG Maker. That's co-op. Looked like fun.
Sounds
They
like fun.
they released an episode 1 of their game. It was supposed to be a full release. Then they released an episode 1 of the game. And I don't know if they ever released an episode 2. We're going to find out live on the podcast if they ever did.
Okay.
it's it's weird to me because like you think most people starting out on like some kind of game project have an idea of how long it'll take them. And I understand game development is not a quick process, but it's
Okay.
certainly something you can kind of gauge, especially if you stick to a time period, like a time
See,
frame.
I see what you're saying, but a lot of the Kickstarter people have no idea what they're really doing.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
See, like, if it was actually a professional person, then he probably has some idea, but as Kickstarter projects have shown, not even professionals know what they're doing. Case in point, Double Fine!
Yeah, they honestly that is like one of the biggest game kerfuffles. It didn't help that. So, were you following that like kind of when it was going
Yeah,
on?
I was following. Well, no, not when it was going on. Like a little bit afterwards, I think, because I was kind of curious what happened. Because there was actually a series for the game they came out with, right? I was interested in it, for the first one, right? That was supposed to be a complete game, and then it didn't become a complete game. It was broken up into two, right? And I watched the first part, thinking it was, oh, that's pretty good, waiting for the second part to come out, and it took a long time, and then I forgot about it and never picked it up.
Yeah, and I mean, I kickstarted it myself, and the interesting thing about the Double Fine adventure, which I find infinitely interesting, is that they decided when they started they were going to hire a documentary company to do a documentary on the entire process of the game. And because the game went south, it is very interesting to watch that documentary, especially when they realize that, oh no, we don't have enough money to finish this. We've made mistakes.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! They actually went through with that? I thought that didn't actually go through.
No, they did documentary parts on everything.
They didn't axe it. I thought it got axed once they
No,
realized things were going bad.
they continued it. They sugarcoated it a bit, but I mean they still did the entire document. You could buy it.
Oh, that
You could
sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting to watch because you start out in the beginning. Um, yeah, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The, they start in the beginning and they're talking about like we got so much more money than we ever could have wanted for our project, and they talk about these crazy things that they've been doing. Like they're like, we want this game to look like no other game, so we hired on an artist that isn't super well known, but we love his style, and he's gonna draw the entire game's style. And that should have been a red flag immediately. Been like, oh no, oh no, you're gonna get a artist to do all of your art. Okay, all right, I'm game. Um, and then on top of that, they
Yeah.
grew it into this big project that was going to be like spanning multiple timelines and all this stuff. And then over time, it's like you watch the documentary and they're talking really well about it. They're saying like, man, this is going to be great. We're excited about it. We're in this phase of the planning process. And then over time, they're like, yeah, we've hit a few snags.
Yeah, because like the whole thing about it was is that they kept just adding on and on to the project, even though like, you know, it just was something that wasn't going to work because of like they overpromised is what they did. They got
Yeah,
all this
more or less.
money, then they started to think, whoa, now that we have all this money, we can do a lot more. When in truth, it just means that you just have that money. They basically couldn't figure out like how to budget properly.
Yeah, exactly. And it was super interesting to watch because like I thought for sure they were going to do what you said, which was just like eventually stop doing it. But they continued through the whole thing, and I don't think I ever watched to the very end. But
Mm-hmm.
it it basically was a perfect moment in gaming history to be like a gaming historian. As weird as that sounds, to be like someone who catalogs this kind of stuff, to be like, I have firsthand a primary source of what happened to this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's super interesting. Actually, I'm looking at the like DVD, Blu-ray kind of thing that they sell. I have it for
Mm-hmm.
free, like because I kickstarted it. I have access to all the videos myself, but like owning the DVD would be a good like history kind of thing. But
I get you. I get you.
that's beside the point. I actually never finished Double Fine Adventure. I should really go back and do that because it turned into Broken Age. I keep referring to it as Double Fine Adventure, but it turned into a game called Broken Age, and I really enjoyed playing through the first. I played through the first part of it. I actually really enjoyed it.
I have low
Um,
patience, so I watch other people that sort of know what they're doing to play through those games. I
I don't
enjoy
blame.
those games for the story, not for like, the mechanics.
I don't blame you. I remember certainly there were a couple of parts where just the logic of the puzzle didn't click with me in any way, shape, or form. I don't think I ever had to look up a walkthrough, but it certainly took me a while to figure out one or two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it certainly was a little odd. But there are, I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in like really bad stories of Kickstarter. I kickstarted Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is one of my favorite 2D platformers.
I think that's one of the prime examples of a Kickstarter success, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like that one, I don't even think people realize that that was a Kickstarter. Like that wasn't just a game that came out. Like
Mm-hmm.
some people just thought, "Oh, it came out and it's got all this DLC and it's really well made and its music's incredible." It it's really crazy what they did with their game over what other games I've gotten. Like I feel like like that was a group that knew what they wanted to do, knew what they wanted to make, and delivered on it 110%.
Well, the thing is, they had a solid vision, and they didn't let feature creep set in.
Exactly. They planned expansions because of the money, but I don't think they ever planned anything too complicated. And because the game did so well and so many companies were interested in it, they implemented things like multiplayer, things I think they never really thought about,
Mm-hmm.
like
See,
co-op kind of stuff.
it's kind of interesting because you can see the difference between a studio that knows what it wants to do and where it can go versus a studio that is basically just seeing dollar signs.
Yeah,
And by that I
it's
mean just like they don't know how to like budget themselves. They're like, oh, we got all this money, that means we can spend more. No, you just got the money you asked for, and you got a little extra.
yeah, exactly. Um, Something else I kickstarted on here is super interesting actually. I want to pitch you a game, and you
Okay,
tell me if you'll be interested in it.
all right.
So I want you to imagine a Zelda type game where you
Mm-hmm.
go through dungeons, you collect gear that lets you progress through the game, like lets you beat bosses because of that gear. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you there was a game where you play that in reverse? You start out with all of your
Um.
gear, and over time, as you do things, you lose that gear.
I seem to remember the game you're talking about, but it actually I feel like that would frustrate me in some way.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
like
I
my progression focused mentality would be bothered by that. I think.
see. I see it more as like my progression idea would be I am progressing, but I'm losing these abilities over time because I'm progressing.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean, right?
Yeah.
But like it's something that would actually bother me like a bit, just like to be constant to be losing abilities and the stuff like that. I feel like it genuinely would like make me dislike the game. Like I'd totally watch somebody else play through that, but it's something that if I were to do it would aggravate me a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I can
Granted,
see you.
as a concept, I think it's absolutely cool and amazing, but it's not for me.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully the game turned out to be hot garbage.
Oh, it did?
it Yeah, no, the game I kickstarted was it was so weird because basically I stopped playing in the tutorial area. I didn't know the controls well enough to defeat the first enemy I came across
Okay.
because I couldn't figure out how the combat system worked. And this is not like, oh man, I clicked my mouse and nothing happened. No, I sat down in the room and clicked every button on the keyboard and nothing happened. And there was no control menu on the game. So I actually reached out to the dev and asked, "Hey, I'm enjoying your game a bit. Can you tell me like what the controls are? I'm having a little trouble." And I never heard anything. And it's not like this is like, oh man, this is like Todd Howard at Bethesda. It's like a one man band kind of game. So yeah, that game didn't turn out to be so good.
Okay.
Um, uh, we could talk about Kung Fury another time, but Kung Fury is one of my favorite things that I've kickstarted.
That's the video thing, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's honestly
Kung
a
Fury
pretty
the
great
movie.
video. That's amazing stuff.
I don't regret kickstarting that in any way. That was
Honestly,
incredible.
sometimes you kickstart things and they just turn out great, and that's one of the things. I
Hmm.
mean, I didn't really kickstart anything, so I can't
Yeah,
really say any claim to that.
and I guess wrap it up a little bit. There's some stuff in here that was supposed to be delivered back in like 2014 that I'm still waiting on. God,
Ooh, what's that? What's you been waiting on?
there's
Still.
actually this is kind of interesting. So you know, ukulele came out recently, like the Banjo Kazooie kind of successor.
Yeah.
Um,
From what I've heard, it's okay.
yeah, I've heard mixed things. Some people really love it. Some people got problems with it. But before that game was pitched on Kickstarter, there was a game that came right before it that was doing the same thing and is looking to be like a really really solid version of those kind of games called A Hat in Time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I think I remember Jesse Cox doing a demo on that, and he was like really liking it. And I seem to remember it being pretty cool. What happened with
Yeah,
that?
that game is still in development. The reason actually I bring it up is because I got an email the other day them saying like, here's our release date, we're finishing, here's when it's actually coming out. I haven't been following too much of the development. I get an
Mm-hmm.
email every once in a while of like, here's what's going on. But I know that they've been steadily working. It's not like an abandoned project. It's not like one that like I didn't hear from them for 2 years and then one day they were like, here you go, here's your game. But
I gotcha.
I know they have a release date now, and I'm looking forward to it, especially since ukulele sounded like it was kind of mixed. Like I'm hoping Hat in Time does better, especially since it seems to be going for more of an original route than ukulele kind of does.
I mean, in all fairness, ukulele went for a to basically be the old type of game, but it ended up being the old type of game, and just made by less competent people.
I wouldn't go that far, but I certainly would say like they were emulating the old style of game to a T, where they wanted to make the
Well,
game
yeah,
the same
yeah.
exact way. Where A
Yeah,
Hat in
but
Time, most of
basically, it's more along the lines of like, hey, we're gonna shoot for that bar, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and so the only options you have is to either hit that bar or be below it, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much they shot for the bar and they went a little low, kind of deal. I mean, it was what people asked for. It just not everybody didn't realize, hey, I actually don't like what I asked for. You know?
I don't. That's not what I wanted. I
Yeah,
don't know
but
what I wanted, but that's
that's
not what I
basically the
wanted.
case of it. Is
Yeah.
that apparently it emulated the style. It just wasn't as good on execution as Banjo Kazooie was. I mean, they weren't striving to make a better game than Banjo Kazooie, so it was very unlikely that it would be better because that's not really what they strove to do. They kind of
Yeah.
just wanted a carbon copy. Well, not a carbon copy, but they basically just wanted to emulate what that was instead of drawing on improvements that have been made over the years, kind of deal. At
Yeah.
least that's what I've understood from it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll actually sit down and play that game eventually. I do own it, but I really just haven't sat down with it. But the way Hat in Time's going, I'm hoping that turns out pretty well because that has been in development for a very long time, and that seems to be like a real labor of love for them. So we'll see. We'll see how that does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I've
I
got
mean,
some.
I know there's been some long form development games that I've been super into. Like
Like what?
well, the most classic one is Minecraft, of course.
Yep.
Another one was actually Stardew Valley, and another one was shoot, what was its name? Starbound.
I feel like you've got a wide variety of success there with those games.
Yeah, I never kickstarted them though, but I was I guess I was a alpha tester for Minecraft, so I've been playing that since alpha, so that's a thing.
Yeah,
And let's
it's
see
fun.
for and
It's
pretty much
funny.
the same thing with Starbound. What's up?
I was gonna say that's what it seems like. It seems like it seems like you have Minecraft, which was the massive success. You have Stardew Valley, which was a smaller success. Then you've got Starbound, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what's going on with that game anymore.
I mean, it's out.
It
It's done.
is. I just don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, honestly, it's they overpromised a little bit. They didn't really know where they were going in development. During development, they changed up the game majorly, many
Hmm.
times. It angered a bunch of people, but honestly, they were honest about the development the entire time. It's not like they ever said anything was going to be super set in stone. So they were honest with everybody. So that's a good thing.
Hmm.
I mean, the
Alright.
game's a good game. It's enjoyable. I mean, it's definitely I'd say it's in the best state it's ever been right now, right? I wouldn't say you should go back to an older build or anything like that, but there's definitely things in the older builds that they got completely rid of that I'm sad that they did.
Hmm. Like you were a fan of that, and you'd kind of want it back.
Well, yeah, they definitely took away a big portion of the whole exploration thing. You never know what a monster is going to be, kind of deal, right? They used to have this thing where you would explore a new planet, kind of deal, right? That's what Starbound is. It's a planet exploration game. You go planet to planet. Get better gear, get better stuff. Find what's the weird wildlife that's there, kind of deal, right?
Hmm.
But they streamlined all the wildlife.
So it's all kind of the same now.
Yeah. So if you go to a tropical planet, you're gonna get those type of creatures. What they used to have it as is that the wildlife was all randomly generated, which would get you some weird stuff sometimes. So you could have this beast, which is actually just a peaceful monster kind of deal, and you can get this little small thing that's going to just kind of rip you up, try and rip you apart.
Hmm.
Which I feel was better for the exploration aspect because you're not getting the same creature on every single world, right? But you kind of get a little bit of that in the newest version of the game, which I feel does take away a big part of the exploration aspect of things.
Hmm. All right. It sounds interesting. I don't know if it's up my alley, but it sounds like it's interesting.
It's definitely worth a shot. It's a game where you can have a bunch of fun with it, right? Just spelunking through temples and dungeons and all that kind of stuff. Like it has a lot of content in the game already. Like the stuff they added is really good. It's just that they took away like one or two like features that really do I feel like take a bit of the experience away of the game. You know?
Hmm.
That it was originally designed for, planned for, and they wanted to make a more streamlined and complete game. Which in fairness, it does do that, right? But it still I feel takes a little bit away from the game. I don't know.
It's not exactly what you bought into when you bought into the game.
Yeah, I mean like the game still technically is at its core tenets, but it definitely made one of those tenets less important.
Hmm.
You know, the whole random exploration thing. So, que sera sera.
Eh, well, I mean, it sounds like you're at least still enjoying it. So, if nothing else, that's that.
Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about
Yeah,
that.
and I'll try and keep people updated if any of my Kickstarter projects show up or anything like that. Still got plenty to see.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
for sure. All right. Well, we sure as heck filled something in.
Something. Something.